Welcome to Buckle Up Podcast Universe with Brandon Rush.
And welcome to the Buckle Up Podcast Universe with Brandon Rush and Mama Rush. If this is your first time coming to the show, I am actor Brandon Rush. I have been in 80 television shows and movies, some of the biggest shows ever created the last 15 years. And I'm very excited about that. And we'll continue to be working in TV and film. My mother is a pharmaceutical sales specialist, and she joined me on the Buckle Up Podcast Universe as my co-host April 9th of 2025. We have done 147 episodes as of today. We are on 6 continents. We are in 82 countries around the world, and we are in 950 cities worldwide. And that is quite the accomplishment, which we are grateful for that. We have been blessed to have guests from all around the world. So from the people I work with in the movie business, I've had over my 80 TV shows and films, I've had directors, producers, writers, actors, actresses, voiceover artists, all different type of people. Oh, casting directors, casting associates, casting assistants, and casting producers all on this show and will continue to be on the show that we have lined up in the future. We've had doctors, lawyers, military, veterans, and our goal with this show is to one, educate the youth and help them with different options. And by having guests tell their story, they aren't only talking about their own legacy that they're leaving, but also it is helping the next generation, because you should always send the escalator back down or the elevator back down to help out the next generation. We also have CEOs from companies on here. We've had business tycoons on here that have been beyond successful. And we've had teachers on here, my professors from college at USC. And I think I might be missing a few, but that's okay. But we are welcome to guests from all different backgrounds around the world. I think that's what makes this show so special, is because we have those people from around the world that not only get a chance to hear their own family or friend stories, but they get to learn about other people's adventures and their stories. So we enjoy that at the Buckle Up Podcast Universe with Brandon Rush and Mama Rush. Today we have a voiceover artist on here today. Thank you, Voicelings, for introducing us to Harry Dyer. Actor Harry Dyer is from Hull, England, whose journey into animation and voice acting has been nearly 4 decades in the making. From a young age, Harry was a kid organizing make-believe games, assigning characters, and entertaining classmates with his voices and impressions. During the 2020 lockdown, he turned a simple home setup into a professional career, voicing characters across animation, games, and audiobooks. Now he's on the verge of signing with a major Los Angeles agency and stepping onto the global stage. So we are about to welcome Harry Dyer on here in 1 minute. All right. See here. Harry, what is going on, mate?
How are you doing? I'm not too bad, thanks, matey. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Sorry about the confusion on our the timetable. I know it can get kind of crazy. It's all good.
It's all good, yeah. I didn't know whether we'd had the spring equinox yet or not, so I didn't know whether there'd been like a change in the time or what, but by the by, it's good to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Harry, I'm going to ask you a question about that spring equinox in 1 second. Sorry, this thing's going off. Wait, quick question to ask you. First off, Harry, welcome to the Buckle Up Podcast Universe with Brandon Rush
and Mama Rush.
Thank you very much for having me. Mama Rush, it's a pleasure to meet you, my dear.
Oh, I'm so happy about speaking with you on today. I got so excited when Brandon said he's from London. So we're going to have a great talk.
Yes, absolutely.
You're from Hull, England, I believe it is. Yes.
That's right. Yes. From across the pond.
Yeah, will you tell Harry, there's 2 things I want to do. Will you tell us about the spring equinox? Is that what you guys call your equinox? You said spring equinox?
Yeah, when the clocks change.
Okay.
I can't remember whether we lose an hour in bed or whether we gain an hour in bed, but you have the one that's sort of near Halloween.
Okay.
And then you have the one that's round about this time. So I have a feeling that we lose an hour. But it's different. I've had it before where I've gone to talk to people in the States, and then they'll be like, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "Oh, cool." So it could have been that, but the main thing is we're here now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The reason I asked is because we call it daylight saving time over here.
That's
So
right. Yeah.
for our American audience, I wanted them to at least hear what you meant. Even though we kind of got the concept, but I wanted to hear you say it.
Sure.
Also, Harry. So wait, you grew up in. Tell us about Hull, England. We don't know anything. At least I don't know anything about it. If you wouldn't mind explaining that, telling us about growing up over there and all.
Sure, yeah. So Hull is in East Yorkshire. It's as far east of Yorkshire as you can get. So that's up north.
Okay.
And interesting facts about Hull. Hull was one of the most bombed places in World War II
Holy smokes.
because of it was a massive shipping town.
Okay.
So it was a prime target, and apparently the Germans followed up the River Hull, and that's how they sort of found their way. So Hull was the most bombed city in the UK.
Oh wow.
Hull had the City of Culture in 2017, which is where it gets a lot of money pumped into it, and we get to sort of spruce things up a bit and make things nice. Another interesting thing about Hull is where William Wilberforce was from. And his claim to fame was that he was one of the big pioneers for abolishing slavery in the UK.
Really?
And his house is still in Hull. You can go and see it. I think they've turned it into a museum now. So those are some Hull facts off the top of my head. But the one thing that gives anyone from Hull away when you speak to them, it's this particular phrase. It's oh no, I've got to go home up the snowy road and have a can of Coke and wash my hands with some soap. So, if you ever hear anybody going, then they're probably from Hull.
Okay, yeah, I'll absolutely. I probably will in my travels, and when I finally get a chance to meet you in person, Harry, I definitely, I will definitely always quote you on that. But if I ever hear that, I definitely will be able to be. Hey, you from Hull by chance? Because I know this guy. It's funny you mentioned that because I have friends from Canada who anytime I didn't grow up around any people from Canada or anything like that, but anytime someone says A, the first question I always ask them is, "Are you from Canada?" And it's 9 times, actually 10 times out of 10 is, "Yeah, I'm from Canada."
From Canada, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. So how did you end up let's tell us about your journey about becoming into voiceover artists. Like how do you go from your I'm gonna hear your story about growing up and all that and how this brought you to where you are today.
So I, like many sort of actors, you may have found this yourself, Brandon. When I was young, I was the performer of the group. I loved to entertain people. Making people laugh was my way of sort of establishing myself within the social hierarchy, if you like.
Okay.
I was the one who always loved to play games and play make believe, and it just kind of stayed with me. Other people sort of diverted into magazines, music, football, but I was always, coming up with worlds and games and stuff like that. And then when I went to high school, that stayed with me. Although, funnily enough, when I was at high school, I was very, very nervous about performing.
Mhm.
And our high school had the drama people who were
Yeah.
they were the guys who always hung around in the drama block. They were always in the school productions and things like
Yeah.
that. And I never was. But what I did was I had a real interest in filmmaking and film
Okay.
in general. So what I used to do with my video camera, my camcorder,
Yeah.
I would make little films and film myself doing scenes. And then I had my really close friends at school. We sort of had like a small, tight knit group, and we used to make our own episodes and our own little
Okay.
short movies. So that was where I sort of got a feel for performing for the camera, if you like. And
Yeah.
then towards the end of school, I was like, I want to be an actor. That's the thing I'm good at. I used to go up on the stage every Christmas when they had the Christmas assembly, when it was like,
Mhm.
if anybody wants to perform, just go speak to the drama teacher and say what you want to do and then go up there and do it. And when I used to go up on the stage, that was when you were like, suddenly everyone was like, hey, that's Harry, isn't it? And like suddenly you're seen, you're
Yeah.
noticed for what you're, for the gifts that you've been given, what you've been put here to do. And so then I just took that with me to college and studied acting, just acting,
Okay.
um, and did a little bit of everything. And then from there, ended up going to drama school, where I guess like college was where I really found my love for it and got
Yeah.
confident with it and was doing it a lot. Then when you go to drama school, that was where you sometimes pretty much everybody comes in with this attitude of like, yeah, I know what all this is about, and then you go into the proper drama school acting classes and you're like, oh, I don't know anything. I
Yeah.
really don't know anything. And their job is to sort of like, I always remember our acting teacher. He was very, very old school. If you
Yeah.
imagine, if you can sort of conjure up in your mind a stereotypical like English drama teacher who's all fire and passion,
Yeah.
that was him. And he was only like, he was a short guy with glasses, balding, but we were terrified of him. He used to set his watch, and if you were late,
Oh, wow.
big trouble. And his watch was 5 minutes early.
Yeah.
Even if you were on time, you were still late.
So late. Yeah.
So we had to set all of our watches 5 minutes fast to get there on time. But I always remember he described it as like, I need to unpick what you know to then put you back together with the tools that we can give you.
Oh, wow.
So did 3 years of drama school, graduated, and then went out into the business.
Yeah.
And I guess I got into the business of performing, but also the business of life as well.
Yeah.
Sort of doing the, I guess you'd call it like the 9 to 5 jobs, but
Yeah.
I always found it difficult with the sort of the jobs to earn your keep, to pay the bills, buy
Yeah.
food, and keep the heating switched on,
Yeah.
So I did lots and lots of different jobs over the years, and in a way, it was really good for me as a performer because I got to experience so many different sectors and so many different types of people. And
Mhm.
one thing I think as an actor, I was saying this the other day, that one of the great things as an actor, a voice artist, is having the ability to listen and to really absorb the world around you and listen to other people's stories, because then that gives you more to draw from.
Absolutely.
And yeah, the voice acting, I sort of, when I was living over in Manchester, which is in Lancashire, which is on the other side of the wall, I love Manchester. It was my home for many, many years. And
Okay.
while I was there, I went and did a few voiceover jobs like in studio, and they were just sort of little bits here and there. And then I ended up getting my own microphone, just like a podcast microphone. It was a Blue Yeti podcast microphone that I just had in my kitchen, and I just sort of started talking to the microphone and recording, my thoughts, and then trying to do different voices. And then from there, I started to, build my confidence and start looking at voice acting job sites and stuff like that. And then, of course, 2020 came around and we all had to stay inside. And this is a common theme that I found, is that a lot of people came into voice acting because of that, because at that time, it was a creative outlet for so many of us. And, I actually got quite a few of my own gigs at home.
Oh, wow.
During that time. Actually, I started just before the pandemic, and then
Yeah.
during the pandemic, and then after that, I was just like, this is so easy and simple, to be able to just go on, record an audition, send it off, and then move on. Because auditioning in person, I don't know what it's like where you are, Brandon, but like, if someone says, "Can you come into studio to do some auditions today?"
Yeah.
You've got to travel there, you've got to travel back. It's either costing trains,
A lot.
buses,
Yeah.
petrol, anything like that. Whereas with, the voiceover auditions, you can literally come in, you could do 10 of them, send them all off, and then go downstairs and have a cup of tea,
Yeah.
So
It's almost, Terry, to ask you a question, sorry to interrupt. It's kind of like doing a self tape, not doing a self tape, but it's kind of like doing the self recording. You guys are able to do that from home,
yes, yeah,
which is
absolutely.
which is now a self taping. We do that now. It's the same thing now, but it wasn't. I just want to relate that to you. Harry, sorry for interrupting. Get back to what you were saying.
No, I was going to say, just going off the back of that, like, I think it's sort of become the norm in all kinds of acting now,
Yeah.
where, if I get a self-tape for my on-camera auditions, a lot of the time, I've got my little self-tape thing set up at home with the backdrop and the lights,
Yeah.
and it seems to be the way now. And some people say that they miss going to the in-person audition. Some people prefer doing it like this. I certainly don't mind doing a self-tape for round one of audition.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to round two and they're like, we want to see a bit more of what you can do and try you out and stuff, then I don't mind going in and actually, shaking somebody's hand and getting
Absolutely.
a real sense of you, because self-tapes are good. But
Yeah.
I find that when you actually go into the space and meet the people, they can actually get a real sense of you as a person, not just as a performer.
Absolutely.
And then I find myself here now where voice acting is kind of my main bread and butter, if you
Heck
like.
yeah, man.
Um,
Congratulations.
Thank you. And and I ended up I've joined quite a few different sort of voiceover groups and communities. Ended up joining the Voicelings. I know you've spoken to a few Voicelings already.
Yeah.
Some great people.
They really are.
I mean, the one thing I say about the Voicelings is that it's a really great community, because there's lots of different voice acting courses and coaches and stuff like that. And the Voicelings was set out specifically to be a community, so a place where people can come, they can try stuff out, they can talk about stuff, no matter what level you're at or where
Yeah.
you are in your journey. You can come in, people aren't gonna berate anybody or be overly critical. People will be critical if people ask for it, but
Yeah.
like Tara Strong, who is the sort of the pioneer of it all, and she's described it as being, I guess, a safe space for
Yeah.
people to come and to practice their art and test their love for it.
Absolutely.
And
Well,
go. Sorry,
no,
go.
you go right ahead. Go ahead.
No,
No,
I was
I'm
just
listening because I want you to continue. I'm just listening to your voice, and it has this characteristics
It's good.
about it
Yeah.
that I love. I'm sensing it. It has this mellow. Your voice is like mellow. It's like a calming voice. It's very unique, by the way. It's very unique. I wanted to let you know that. But go ahead, finish up, and then I'm going to ask you a question here.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for that. And yes, I have been told many times that I've got quite a calming voice. I've actually I've done a couple of those apps where it's designed to just help you get off to sleep. It's
Yeah.
talking about a
Mhm.
nice snowy cottage in the woods and the fire is
Yes.
burning. And but the last thing I was going to say about the Voicelings was that I came to the Voicelings at a time when I guess I was going through a bit of a slump with
Mhm.
everything. And, when you'll know, Brandon, when you're an artist, you have
Yeah.
those times when things can get difficult. And last year it did get quite difficult for me. And I had gone on to the Voicelings page and they'd advertised that they were doing these scholarships.
Okay.
And I'd sort of thought, you know what? Why not? Give it a try. They can only say no. So
Yeah.
I applied for it. Didn't expect to hear anything back, and they came back and offered me this scholarship, and it was literally like the last of my finances. And I thought,
Mm.
again, I was like, you know what? Let's do it.
Heck yeah.
Mhm.
And it was a real pivotal moment because since joining the Voicelings, it's like life has just turned in a really great direction.
Amen.
And it sort of brings me here today.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be probably talking now if it hadn't been for the Voicelings. So that's just what I wanted to finish on there. But
Yeah.
so that's a condensed version of my story there.
Okay. Well, Harry, I do want to say, first off, I'm appreciative of Voicelings for bringing us together. I apologize for not even seeing you. I think you wrote me. I don't get notifications on Instagram, and I get a lot of DMs from a whole lot of things, but I don't always see it. So it was in a general pile. So I think you maybe had sent me a message in February, and I didn't see it until just the other day because someone from Voicelings, Jeremy, I think is his name, was like, "Hey, Brandon, there's this guy named Harry who I think you should check out. Who is trying to get his it might be the O1 visa to come over to the United States to work. We're gonna make sure to
That's
talk
correct.
about that too.
That's correct.
And so I was like, I'm all about helping people. That's the way I've always been. I got that from my parents, my mom, who's still alive, my dad, when he was alive. They were always trying to help people. And so with this platform, it was what we used to try and help people. And I've been blessed to be in 80 TV shows and movies. So every person I have worked with just about has either been on this show, is coming on the show, or it's like either been on the show or coming on the show. So we're here to help to the best of our ability and get people's stories like your own out here, Harry. And you,
Well,
Harry, I can tell you're a good dude, man. My heart goes out
Yeah.
to you just hearing you talk.
Yeah.
well, it's I've been listening to a few of the buckle ups when it was Melissa Mirren who had been
Yeah.
on, and that sort of brought me to you guys. And yeah, I was going to say you've had a really sort of a really varied group of people who you've
Yep.
spoken to, and it's fascinating listening to all these different people and all of their stories. And again, like I say, as a performer, it helps you massively hearing all these different slices of life.
Absolutely. Harry, sorry, Mom, one more thing I just want to say.
Yeah, go
Harry,
ahead.
I watched Game of Thrones, and I've always related the most to Jon Snow's character because that's how I kind of felt with in life,
Mhm.
where he's able to make friends with all different groups of people from different areas throughout that show. And that's the kind of person I am. And I've always been a person who meets people from all around the world. And I figured, why not with how the Lord has blessed my career? I always wanted to bridge a gap between me and the West Coast and the East Coast first. Never thinking they would end up overseas like it has with all the people around the world. But my goal was always to bridge the gap. And I said, God, if I can be that vessel to help out people, let me do that. And so now with where my career's at, I'm able to start doing that to the best of my ability. And with my mom, who's been my ride or die with
Thank
that.
you, Brandon.
You can go ahead,
Thank you
Mom.
so much. We've had so much fun with this show, but I want to ask a few questions of you. How did you land your first role, the first role you ever did, and you got paid for it?
The first role, the first big role that I
Mhm.
ever landed, was it was a film called The Giant Killer.
Okay.
And it's by a company. I think they're based in LA. They're called The Asylum, and
Hmm.
they're famous for, I think, like the Sharknado films, and mega oyster versus colossal shrimp and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But they did this film, and I remember going to audition for it in Wales and going on the
Oh,
train
wow.
all the way to Wales to audition and coming all the way back, and then they'd said, "Could you come back for another audition?" So I went all the way out there again and came
Yeah.
all the way back. And I honestly had no idea what they wanted. So I just went in there and just thought, I'm just gonna be myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then not long after that, they messaged and said, "Yeah, we'd like to offer you the part." And
Heck yeah.
it wasn't the first job that I ever did from graduating from drama school, but it was the first big one where I was like, "Oh wow, this is real. Like this is the real deal." And
Yeah.
it was paid, and we got to stay in a little cottage in Wales whilst we were filming it, and
Hmm.
yeah, it was just a really great experience, and yeah, and it was one of those moments where you sort of felt like, yeah, I'm where I'm meant to be. and
Absolutely.
and the other thing I was going to say as well is that for most of my career, I've not had an agent.
Oh,
So
thanks.
every single job I've ever got has always been off my own back.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I have recently joined an agency back in 2024, a
Okay.
co-op agency, which is, if you're familiar with co-ops, it's where you are an actor on the
Okay.
books, but you also act as agent as well.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah,
Interesting.
so everybody will have sort of time in the office. So we use
Yeah.
a virtual office, and you do your 5 hours a week, and you basically agent for all the other people on the books.
Oh,
And
wow.
and it's really fascinating because it gives you an insight into the sort of the agent side of things,
Yeah.
but also it's really good because you get to know everybody on the books, and you
Mhm.
sort of get a sense of when a casting comes in, you're like, I know who'd be good at that.
Yeah.
So but yeah, so I've been with them for the last 2 years, but everything before that was all stuff that I got myself. So that's why I've always been proud of every job that I've done, because
Yeah.
I knew I got it myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
Amen.
so the Giant Killer, yeah, that was the first one where I was like, I got paid to do my art.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Uh, Harry, I wanted to say that's commendable. I've had to do that route too. I've gotten a lot of my when I first started out, I had to get a lot of my own jobs by myself. I didn't have any help at the time, and I was getting those jobs myself. But luckily, I've been blessed now. But I had to do it the hard route. There's these things called showcases, which I've done in London too. I performed for 7 casting directors and associates in London back in September and in October, where basically you perform for a casting director or a casting associate in front of the entire class. Also, I want to give a shout out to that London community. I've never felt so supported in my life by actors and actresses from London. I was blown away by how they root for each other. That just blew my mind because I think it's more competitive in the United States when it comes to people not necessarily being so supportive, perhaps at least in
Yeah.
the acting business.
Mm.
But with that being said, I had to do showcases before I ever got an agent. So casting directors would call me in after seeing me perform. They call me in directly for auditions, and
Mm.
from there, I started booking. I was able to get my first agent after a casting director called me in for a role I had done a showcase for them for. And I did that in Los Angeles to start, and then I did that in New York, and that's how I did that. So when you were saying things like how you had to commute to uh,
well,
Wales,
Yes.
back and forth to Wales. I know all about that, brother. I've had to fly to auditions. I've had to fly from LA to New York for auditions and back and forth. Thanks to my mom and dad, who I can't thank them enough. They would get up 3 o'clock in the morning, take me to the airport. My aunt worked for the airlines at the time, so I was able to fly for free. And I would go to these auditions and then fly back same day, or I'd fly from LA to South Carolina, then drive 3 hours down to Atlanta to audition and drive back up. And so I
Mm.
know I feel for you completely. And with you saying how proud you are, you should be because people don't understand how some people might not understand how hard that is or how difficult that is. It's not only are you getting these roles yourself, you're competing against people that can probably get seen before you that have that agent. But you were able to do that on based on your talent and grit alone. So I wanted to just commend you on that.
Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, you're right. I think sometimes one of the things that I always say is like over the years how difficult it can be. I think sometimes people might get this idea of, being an actor or being in the arts or something as being quite kind of glamorous and cool, and it can have its moments, but
Yeah.
there are times when it can be incredibly lonely and
Yeah.
incredibly difficult. And,
mm,
the one thing that I've seen over the years is you see your peers, whether it's people you went to school with or friends, you see people, you know, getting houses, getting cars,
Yeah.
getting jobs, earning wages, and it's when that sort of the negative voice
Yeah.
mhm,
will start working at you and sort of saying, "Look at you,
Yeah.
you're look at where you are, look at where everyone else is, and why are you still doing this?" And I can't describe it other than it's just like it's a calling. There's no real words or anything to describe it other than
mhm,
it. You're just compelled to do it. You're
Yeah.
compelled to stick with it, even if everyone around you is saying, why don't you do something else? Why don't you
Yeah.
do,
mm,
and you've got to have a lot of faith in yourself. I always say if you're going to have faith in anything, have faith in yourself that
Amen.
what you're doing is right. If it feels right in your heart, that means you must be doing it for a reason.
I love
Absolutely.
that. I love that. I always say you are your biggest cheerleader, and besides your
Absolutely.
parents, because because we cheer Brandon on all the time. But
Yeah.
I want to ask you, what does it take to create a character voice?
So I found that over the years I would sort of do impressions and imitate people and stuff like that, and then you can sort of play around with the voices and have your bag of voices. Or recently, someone Joshua Seth, who was the
Mhm.
voice of he was the voice of Ty in Digimon,
Okay.
and many other things, but I did his voiceover champions group, and he was the one who said, whenever you do a character, if there is a line or something that brings that voice out, write it down and make a little book of characters, so that there might be one line that you can say that just gets you into that, let's get the hell out of here or something like that. So, but when it comes to creating a character, to say, for instance, if I get an audition through, I've had a couple of auditions this last week, and it always helps if there's a picture of the character, because sometimes that can just, again, it's like I always describe it, that acting is playing, and it's that same feeling you get as a child if you're playing with toys and you pick up the toys and you start speaking for them. Depending on what that toy looks like, that's the voice that will come out. And it's the same when you see that picture on the page, the voice will start to come and you'll sort of go with that. If there is no picture, you've got to obviously read the character descriptions. Sometimes they'll give like maybe a few characters that it might sound similar to. If it's a robot, they may say, do like Anthony Daniels C3PO, or
oh wow,
or do Marvin the Paranoid Android from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, something like that.
Yeah.
But what I find is that you can sort of do that, take little bits and put it together. But also, if I'm auditioning, I will sort of do roughly what they're asking for, but then I might do one that's just completely, again, like just pull something out of the bag.
Yeah.
And do something that's a bit more me. Because then even if you don't get the part, if you do something that stands out, they might sort of go, who was that? What was that? And then, I've had it before where they've sort of gone, not really what we want for this character, but would you like to read for this one? And, if you can sort of show what you can do, and I guess when going to drama school, doing the sort of training in the Stanislavski technique,
oh wow, yeah,
which is like you find the reality within yourself and you bring it out. If it's a character who is, I don't know, I always remember the drama teacher saying you can never play a monster. So if you got a part of a monster, you can't play a monster, but what you can do is try and find the human being within it. So the example he gave was, if you were given the part of Dracula, it's not just a case of going, like, I want to suck your blood. It's like you find the man he was and try and bring that to the surface, because then that's something that's relatable. So if I'm playing a robot, I can do the robot voice like this, or I can try and sort of think, right, what is this? What's the robot doing? What's it here for? Is it here to help? Is it here to hinder? Is it here just to convey information? And it's almost like doing a detective. You're sort of piecing little pieces together and finding out who this character is, and then seeing if there's a little bit of that in you. Can you bring a little bit of that out to give it some realism? Draw from your own experiences. If it's a robot that's there to advise people, I think about the times when I'm trying to show my grandma how to use Facebook properly, or when I've worked in schools with kids, and you just bring those qualities out and put them into the character, just so that it makes it feel more than just doing a voice. That's the one that I get a lot from people when you say you're a voice actor. Say, oh, you do funny voices then? It's like, yes, but there is a bit of art behind it.
Yeah.
So I hope that answers that question.
Harry, I think you've done one of the best jobs, and this is of just explaining how you go in. At least you've done one of the best jobs explaining the way you craft it yourself. So for you personally, you've done one of the best jobs I've heard of how your process. You've done one of the best jobs of explaining your process, because I'm just actually you're educating me there. I'm like, man, I never thought about that from of whenever you are just giving a description of this character, and how you broke that down was incredible to me, of how you broke that down. Personally, I'm just saying for myself, because with what the description, I think that was amazing. Like the detective work you're doing with that. That's actually awesome to hear. I really love your breakdown of that.
It's all part of the fun. It's I think acting should be fun like that, And I'm sure you've heard before, Brandon, it's like people say, make interesting choices when you're
Yeah.
going to play a role. You could do what everyone else does, or make a choice and stick to it,
Yeah.
even if it doesn't turn out to be the right one. Have the confidence in yourself to make that choice and go with it.
Absolutely. I'm not sure if you're friends with Nigel. If you guys might have been through the voicelings thing.
Yes.
Nigel, the guest we had on the other day, and I was telling him, I've done this a lot in my career, but over in London when I was performing at those showcases, I performed the scene. I performed the scene how I made my choices, which was I usually try to do at least what the casting director, the British casting director, asked me. She's like, Brandon, when you usually do your audition, how would you do it? And I told her straight up, I said, I know that if I go into an audition, there's 10 people, 9 of those actors are going to do it the exact same way, but I'm going to be that 10 person that takes that swing, as in I'm going to go with the route I think it should go. I'm going to take that gamble. And I would rather not book the part and show you what I can do and essentially book the room than for me to, and I'd rather lose out in that part, but show you the fact I'm able to do it. But then I said, after I do the one take my way, I will 100% do it just like you guys want it on the page. Because I've been blessed to be in a lot of sets where I see them say, okay, hey, let's just give us something. Where a lot of what that is on the paper is either taken out, or when they're like, hey, just add something here because something needs to be put there. So I took that into that audition. Excuse me, I take that into my auditions now. So with what you were saying, with the fact that you didn't say taking a big swing, Harry, you said that you said, Harry, you said something there. Sorry, about you doing it a bit differently, making a choice.
Making
You
a
said,
choice.
yeah,
That's
sorry,
right.
that's what I
Yeah.
meant to say. And so I appreciate that you do that, because sometimes it's you by you making that choice is that one thing that might be different. It is that one thing. Hey, you know what? I'm gonna bet on myself through all the life experiences you've been on through, Harry. If you survived, being broke at times, being this artist, why not take that swing? Because you know what? If you failed before, the only thing, it can't go any worse. It can only go better. So
but
sorry, Harry. I just wanted to say
but
that,
that's
man. I'm inspired by you, brother, and
mhm.
I'm rooting for you.
Well,
Thank you.
it's so good. I heard both of you, because if you think outside of what they're expecting for a particular role or a particular voice, it opens the door that they might say, not for you, Brandon. I think about maybe not this particular role we had in mind for him, but let him try something else. And I heard you say the same thing, Harry. Maybe try a different voice. They're listening to you and they said, well, try this. And I think what you all both are doing, creating opportunities within shows
Yeah,
or
Yeah.
whatever with these people who hire for these jobs or these roles, you are making them think beyond what they had written or produced or created or paid for or wanted to hear. And I think that's always so important. So with that, Nigel, excuse me, I think about Nigel,
Harry.
another Harry.
Yeah.
Harry, favorite type of project? Do you like animation, games, or audiobooks?
Ooh.
Um, I've done all three of them, and
Oh wow.
I
Mm,
really enjoy animation.
Yeah.
mm,
It's just for the main thing because it's fun,
Yeah.
mm,
and I love sort of doing the fun voices. I did a game that's released recently called Neo 3 on the
Okay.
PlayStation. So I did
mm,
that last summer, and that one was I remember going again. I got that one on my own.
Yeah.
Did a few
Right.
rounds of auditions and then ended up going down to London to record.
Amazing.
mhm.
And yeah, the process for recording a video game script is very different. With an animation script, it's I guess you'd call it like a standard script. So you
Yeah.
go through, there's the characters, there's the lines. With a video game script, it's like having like an Excel spreadsheet.
Okay.
And I remember going into the studio. It was an amazing experience.
Awesome.
I had to stand on a spot with a little stool. The producer was in Paris, and the client were in Tokyo, Japan, all
Oh
on this
wow.
call at the same time with me on the screen. So I was the only one that was on camera. Everyone else
Yeah.
was veiled. But
Yeah.
the so they basically go through this giant spreadsheet and you can hear them going, all right, go to 216 line, blah, 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 blah. And then it just on the screen in front of me, they just go to it, highlight it. Then they play the line in the original Japanese with maybe a bit of animation, maybe not. And they'll go, okay, here's the original line. Okay, so just get that energy for that. And after the 3 beeps, ready? And then they'll play it and you see the lines and it's beep, beep, beep. And then you do it. And if there's animation, you have to, there's so many different things that you have to think about. You've got to try and get it the same kind of pitch, tone, feeling as the original line. You've got to read the line as it's written. You might want to put a bit of action into it. And especially with Japanese, like there are some words, Japanese words that you're like, I'm dyslexic, so I'm always very nervous when it comes to reading on the spot. And when you're doing that with the client and the producer live on the video, and the line's coming up and it's got a Japanese word in there with a very specific pronunciation, and you're having to say it quickly so that it fits with the mouth. It's you're like that, but it was really cool to do that one, because they would sort of go, okay, now you're going to play a monk, a next one, now you're going to play an evil spirit who's taunting the main character, and now you're going to play a soldier. So again, you have to like go into your box of voices or your bag of voices and go, okay, let's find a soldier. Okay, right, an evil spirit. It's like, okay, right, now let's do this, and then the monk is like, okay, now we're going to do this. So yeah, that one was very kind of rapid fire, but a lot of fun. Audiobooks, actually, after we've finished here today, I've got an audiobook to record.
Oh, wow.
And the audiobooks are great because, again, I guess with my calming voice, I sort of, it works well in audiobook form. And with an audiobook, you might, like the ones I'm doing at the moment, it's a series. So you always love getting those jobs, because if they say, oh, there's a series, you're like, good, there's 5 or 6 books that I'm going to get to do here. So that'll keep me going for a few months. But you could play, like in some books, I've played 20 different characters.
Holy smokes.
In a book. So you've got to think on the fly. Okay, I need to do a voice that's, you don't want to go, you're going to go too crazy or over the top doing a voice like this in an audiobook. But you want to do something that's just subtle enough so that the listener can be like, okay, I know who's speaking now. But it's not too over the top. It tends to be a bit more grounded. So yeah, and then with those ones, a lot of the time as well with an audiobook, not only do you have to record it, but in some cases you have to edit it as well.
Really?
So you've got to go through and edit the chapters, edit out all the fluffs and the mistakes and the, something falling off the shelf or whatever. So it's like kind of 2 jobs in one. You're the voice artist and you are the editor. And then you send it off, and then they'll make sure all the levels are right before they then release it onto Audible or whatever streaming platform it's on. But last Christmas I did it was a sci-fi audiobook about like the multiverse and different worlds and stuff, and you kind of have to learn things on the fly as well. Like if you don't know anything about quantum physics, but you're talking about it, you've got to sort of educate yourself so that what you're saying makes sense. So every different thing comes with a different discipline, but certainly animation is the thing that I enjoy, just because a lot of the time it's nice and simple, it's fun, and it's easy to sort of to go through and read it all. It's a very straightforward ABC kind of job to book. So yeah,
dude, that was amazing, Harry.
Yeah, I'm loving that. I'm really loving how you're bringing your voice out, the characters of your, the different characters within you, the voice within you. I love how you do that shift, and it's just amazing to me. I'm just listening. I'm fascinated with you as a human being.
You're right with us, Harry. We're fans.
Right. But with that said, have you done any mentorship? What did mentorship mean to you on your journey so far? What has it meant to you on this journey?
In terms of being mentored by other people?
Either you doing it, Harry, I think your mom said, or someone mentoring you.
Yeah, someone mentoring you, like Brandon said, as well as you mentoring someone else, if you've had to do that.
I've been mentored by a lot of people.
Mhm.
I haven't had the chance or the opportunity to do much mentoring yet.
Mhm.
I would love the opportunity because very much a believer in passing out knowledge and sharing
Mhm.
it round. You know, I don't see the need to sort of do any kind of gatekeeping or anything like
Yeah.
that. I think that if you have knowledge, share it with people.
Mhm.
Help people on their journey. You know, like you were saying before, Brandon, like if you have the opportunity to spread your light to other people, then do it, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And whenever I've gone to a different mentor, whether it was Joshua Seth or Tara Strong, there was someone, Sarah Nightingale, there's many people that I've taken something from. And I like to think that when I've been with everybody, each of these different mentors, there's always something to take away. You know, there's always new strings to add to the bow. And I guarantee there will always be at least one thing that you will sort of take from a different mentor. And I think it's been really great for me. In fact, I was listening the other day to Ricky Gervais, and
Okay.
he was saying about the fact that like he didn't really come into his stride until he was 40.
Mhm.
And you know, I'm 38 now. I'm 39 this year,
Mhm.
and I remember him saying about I can't remember it was his partner or someone when he was saying about why didn't I do this sooner?
Yeah.
And she said, because you wouldn't have been any good at it. Like,
Mhm.
you are doing it now because now is the time.
Mhm.
You needed to prepare for this moment. And I think that over the years, all those different mentors have just given me something to build me up to this point where I feel confident enough in myself that that I can go out there and do it. But not only that, that I can give back as well. That's
Mhm.
that's my ultimate goal,
Oh,
really, is to be
wonderful.
able to give back.
I love that.
Even if
Okay.
it's just through the storytelling, even if it's
Yeah.
just through that,
This-
to be able to give something back to the world. I feel like I've been waiting to spread my light with people.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You're doing it
Yeah.
today, Harry.
Here you are.
That's it.
I just want to ask one final question on my part, Brandon.
Okay.
What is Harry? Listen, I think about something. I'm sorry. I was thought I missed. I didn't say his name correctly, but it
No, you
is
did.
Harry. I had
Yeah.
knowledgeable on my mind, and then I said, "Oh, Harry, this is Harry." Excuse me, Harry, about that. Hey, Harry, what is your dream role? Tell me one role out there that would be a dream for you.
I would love to do. I would love to do something with Disney because
Mhm.
I grew up on Disney, so I would love to be part of the Disney family.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I guess I would love to do an original character
Ooh.
because there are some voice actors and some actors who may only ever do sort of one big character that they're known for, but that one character can touch the lives of so many people.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always said that even if I did that, if I had my one shot and it was one character and they were just like Harry Dyer is known for doing this role, then
Mm-hmm.
sometimes all it can take is one of those roles to open the doors. And I think if it was doing voice acting, I'd love to do that, like an original sort of cartoon character and do that voice.
Mm-hmm.
However, I've always said that as an actor, as an all-round actor, a
Mhm.
role that I would love to do, the role that I was born to play, would be Doctor Who.
Okay.
Um, I I grew up on the original Doctor Who
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
before it got rebooted in 2005.
Okay.
I remember where my grandma lived in Wales, Llangollen. There was a Doctor Who exhibition that they had there, and I
Mm-hmm.
remember going in and walking around, and they had all the old costumes and all the old monster outfits and stuff in
Mm-hmm.
this museum, and I just remember being captivated by the idea of
Mm-hmm.
this guy who changed into all these different people and was this sort of odd eccentric alien who didn't quite who didn't quite fit in. And I remember thinking, that's me. That is
Yeah.
me. That's
Mm.
how I feel. I feel like this person who's sort of just on the outskirts, who doesn't really fit in, who's a bit quirky, who looks like everybody else, but he's just this different kettle of fish altogether. You're not quite sure with the Doctor. Um, so that would be the one role if I could do that. And yeah, I would love to play Doctor Who one day.
Yeah.
How old were you? How old were you when your
I
grandmother
was
took you?
I was about 7 years old when I
Uh-huh.
went to the Doctor Who exhibition, and I remember the Daleks when I was a little kid because they had, I think it was on the TV, and
Mhm,
that was the thing I recognized first was the Daleks, and I remember being scared of the original Daleks.
mhm,
And but and I'd heard the name Doctor Who, but I didn't really know what it was. And I say when I went to this exhibition, they had it all laid out, and I remember they had a TV screen where they were showing each of the actors who'd played the Doctor, and it showed them sort of doing a little bit of their Doctor, and then it showed them regenerating into the next one, and then they had
mhm,
all of the costumes behind glass, and I just remember
mm,
walking along the line and looking at them all and
mm,
just thinking, wow, how
mhm.
cool.
Oh, this is
Absolutely. Harry, that's awesome. I like a quick story. That reminds me of when my parents took us to Universal Studios for the first time. Miami Vice was still going at Universal Studios, and I remember seeing that as a kid. They had the Back to the Future vehicle too, and then they had Knight Rider vehicle. But seeing that Miami Vice video still sticks in my head today. And like working at Universal Studios now, like I do, it's always amazing that my parents were that inspiration. Just kind of like you were saying with your grandma taking you to see that Doctor Who, how that was just so amazing to you at that time. That's how the Universal Studios Miami Vice was for me.
Yeah, I think that a lot of us performers, it's things that capture us as children. And
mm,
if we're lucky enough, we can hold on to that childlike feeling
Yeah.
and carry it into our mature age. I mean, there were several things as a child that did that.
mhm.
Ghostbusters. It's my favorite
Yeah.
film. It is my favorite film of all time. If I could be in a Ghostbusters film, I would be made up. That would be
Absolutely.
fantastic. So I loved Ghostbusters. I loved Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yep, that's a great one.
For many years, I was convinced that cartoon characters were real. I had to.
Yeah.
I think I had a longer discussion with my parents about cartoon characters not being real than I did about having the Father Christmas discussion.
Yeah.
I just couldn't accept it, and they are still so real to me. But
Yeah.
there was that. I loved Batman. I think Jack Nicholson's Joker had a big influence on me growing up. Um,
Yeah.
and I love Star Wars as well.
Yeah.
It was just all these sort of fantastic otherworldly things were the things that used to captivate my mind.
Absolutely.
Like I say, at school in England at that time, most of the lads would end up just playing football at
Yeah.
break and lunch, but I wasn't one of those people. I always tell the story of when I was about 5 years old. They were having a little football game with some of the parents and kids from the neighborhood, and I ended up being the goalpost.
Okay.
They had two upside down waste paper bins, and I had one on my head. And
Oh wow.
people always say, "Oh, that's when we knew he was different."
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Harry, look, I'm going to ask you one. I'm going to before I get into lightning round, tell us about what's going on with the visa thing. I want to make sure that we touched on that.
Yes. So the O1 visa. So in a nutshell, through the voicelings, my showreel was shown to one of the top voice agents in LA. And thanks to Tara Strong for that. It was then told to me, like, they would love to work with you, but you need to get a work visa.
Mhm.
And for a lot of people, that's where the story would have ended because
Yeah.
they would have sort of gone, "Oh, I can't be bothered with the faff of that." But I thought, you know what? Uh, this feels very much like an opportunity that only comes once in a lifetime. So let's
Mhm.
let's look at it. And I got one of my friends who's from California. I told her about it. She's always wanted me to come to the States, so she
Yeah.
straight away was like, "Oh, leave it with me." So she contacted a whole bunch of law firms. I think like 20 different law firms that
Oh
deal with
wow.
O1 visas, which are for artists.
Hmm.
And one of them got back to me. had a consultation with them. They taught me through the process, and I then began the process of applying for this visa. In fact, today I was sat going through my IMDb and pulling out loads of my projects that I've worked on, because there are so
Yeah.
many. There are so many things that they need ticking, so many boxes that they need ticking.
Yeah.
One of the things that happened with the voicelings was that several of them had said to me, why don't you do a GoFundMe? And I was like, it hadn't even popped into my head. And I don't
Yeah.
know whether it's just a Yorkshire thing, because in Yorkshire, asking anyone to borrow money, oh no, we don't do that. No,
Yeah.
never a what is it? Never a lender nor a debtor be. No, no, no.
Yeah.
But but they sort of said, no, there'd be people who'd really want to support you in this. And I was like, okay, let's see what happens. And I remember thinking, there's no way that anybody's going to want to do this, because it was like the full cost of everything is about
Mhm.
$11,000. So
Yeah.
it's a pricey thing to get a visa, very
Yeah.
pricey.
It is. Yeah. Wow.
So I did a GoFundMe, put it out there, and said need to raise about $11,000. So that's like £10,000, and we've just about raised £5,000 so
Amazing.
far. So about half of it's done. I have my own money that I'm putting into it as well.
Yeah.
But it's been really humbling, and this was something I wanted to mention as well, is that it wasn't until week 2 that I started reaching out to people, because up until that point I just put it there and people donated.
Yeah.
And then in the second week I started sort of messaging people and going through my phone book and just seeing who might be interested.
Yeah.
And when I was saying about doing all those jobs over the years, like working in offices, working in the bank, working in the hospital, working as a delivery man, like all these things. And I'm messaging all these people that I used to work with and thinking like they're not going to be bothered with this.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how many people have come back and they're like, yeah, we'll support you. We
Heck
always
yeah.
knew you'd do that. And I think it's been a really nice experience to know that even though some people I might not have spoken to, in some cases I've not spoken to in decades,
Yeah.
still care enough and believe enough in me and what I'm doing to be able to support me. And I've said to
Absolutely.
every single person, I've said, it doesn't matter whether you've pledged this much or that much, just knowing that you're supporting me is lifting me up.
Heck yeah.
There's not a price you can put on that, you know.
Man.
So it's getting there. It's getting there. By the end of April, I should have everything that I need
Okay.
in place, and then it's just a case of waiting and seeing. But if it all goes well, and I then have the right to come and work in the States, it lasts for 3 years.
Amazing.
And I do have a few projects that are in the pipeline, which I'm hoping should all coincide nicely.
Heck yeah.
So it really does feel like, as I say, from the moment I joined the Voicelings, I don't know whether you want to call it the hand of fate, the universe, God, whatever you want to say. It feels like it's kind of moving me in this good direction. And as
Amen.
I've learned in life, life is kind of like a river that flows, and if you can go with the current, hopefully it will take you somewhere good. And it feels like things are going in a nice direction at the moment. But
Heck
yeah.
yeah, Harry. Oh, I'm happy for you, man. Make sure you send me the link for that, Harry, as well as your photo. And then now I'm gonna get into the lightning round, Harry. And Godspeed with everything, man. I wish you all the best with that. And then, as I said, send me the link so I can put that in your podcast thing.
Yeah,
For
the
your GoFundMe.
GoFundMe link as well. Okay.
And then Harry, you don't know a name by heart, do you, of the GoFundMe thing? Does it have a name on it? Or
It's From Hull to Hollywood in 60 days.
okay.
There you go.
From Hull to Hollywood in 60
in
days.
60 days.
That's
Okay.
it, yeah.
Okay, perfect, Harry. I'd make sure we got that in there. All right, so let's see a lightning round. Favorite cartoon?
The Real Ghostbusters.
Oh, that was a great one, man. That's actually on Tubi. It's on Prime, I think now.
Yeah.
One voice you can do instantly.
Oh, that would have to be Roger Rabbit. Please, we've got to go to Toontown and rescue Jessica, Eddie.
Yeah, but you do too. Do you have another one there?
Oh gosh. Well, what about Goofy, Max? We're gonna go on a road trip and spend some real quality time together.
Man, I love Goofy movie. You don't have a third one, do you?
um. Oh. Ah.
It's okay if you
Oh,
don't.
I know. How about the Joker? Okay, Batman, look alive. The joke's on you.
Love it.
Hold on, I gotta give you a round for that one,
Yeah,
Harry.
that was great. That was great.
I know I already asked it once, but we're gonna ask it. We'll do a second one. So, dream role. You already said
Doctor.
one, but you have a second one?
Doctor Who. Second one would probably be the Joker.
Okay, heck
Okay.
yeah,
Yep, I'd love to do the Joker. I'd love to put my own stamp on it.
absolutely. Coffee or tea? I think I know the answer to this, but I could be wrong.
Black coffee. You
Really, I was wrong.
You probably think tea, being an Englishman, but no, black coffee is my go-to.
Okay, I was completely wrong on that. You guys got to work on your coffee over there, man. When I was there, I couldn't find a good cup of coffee to save my life.
Oh yeah, well it's because we all have the instant stuff.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, they didn't get rid of that. Are you an early bird or night owl?
I would say probably a night owl. Most of my best work I do at night.
Okay. And then final word, one word to describe your journey.
Long.
Heck yeah. And then Harry, one more thing to ask you, and then I'll let mom take it. Harry, if you could go back and tell your 18-year-old self anything, what would it be?
I would say keep doing what you're doing. Stay on the path. If you've got any doubts, don't worry. You're heading in the right direction. Just be patient, be vigilant, and you'll get there.
Amen. I love that, Harry. Well, Harry, you've been absolutely wonderful today, man. I thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to come on here. You're a delight, man. You're a good person too. We're kindred souls for sure. And then I'll let mom take it from here.
But Brandon, before I take it, I want Harry to know that he has been seen today. And would you share with him the following that we now have? And
Yes.
it's because of the purpose-driven life that we have. But share those numbers with Harry.
Yeah, absolutely, Harry. We're up to 19 million viewers and listeners on 6 continents, 82 countries, and 950 cities as of today around the world. So
that's incredible.
Yeah, man.
Incredible. Well, it's going to be a pleasure to speak to every single one of them, and I hope all of you out there are living your best life and spreading the love around, because Lord knows we need love in the world.
Yes, we do. And I want to tell you that, Harry, your story shows that purpose doesn't expire. You've shown us what it means to stay committed and follow your calling, which we love so much. Thank you for joining us today on the Buckle Up Podcast Universe.
Heck yeah.
And what we do now, Brandon?
Yeah, Harry, we give everyone a round of applause, man.
Great job.
Harry, you're phenomenal, brother.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to both of you.
Oh, same here.
Great talking to you too, Harry. Harry, just send me that photo, man, and then I'll have this done in a couple hours.
And we will make sure you put his GoFundMe up.
Yes, and send me that too, Harry, so I have both those things.
Great. I'll send you those.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. You have a blessed day, brother.
All right, take
Cheers,
care
brother.
now. Bye-bye.
Absolutely.
Goodbye.
Oh, that was
He was
outstanding,
amazing.
Brandon.
He was absolutely amazing.